Technologies.
Value.
Yeah. I'll pull the case back up. So. Sorry, I read this a few days ago, so let me remember.
Yeah. So what I said was Exhibit 4 from it. It says that they're doing a sales multiple, and the multiples ranged anywhere from 0.23 to 4.34. They had $35 million in sales, so really it ranges anywhere from $8 million to $152 million. But I took an average. The average I went with is about 2.5 times.
Okay.
So realistically, I think their value is somewhere between about 87.5 million. But if we use the revenue run rate, the value increases to 125 million. Half times multiple. I think they could probably get away with a higher multiple just because of their revolutionary business model. I think they could probably be closer to 3.5, maybe even 4, just because of the revolutionary business model that obviously is what we use today.
Okay. So I was thinking more around like, and maybe this is just because it's what it said, so that put the numbers in my mind. But on page 8, sorry, at the bottom, it says that the right now's revenue run rate approximately 50 million, rather than the company's trailing 12-month sales of 35 million. So, is that the number that you based it off of? Was the 35 million?
Yeah. There was.
You did the 2.5, which is how you got 87.
Yeah, Exhibit 4 showed what other companies had sold for based on their revenue, multiple of what they sold for, and so I did that.
Okay.
And quite honestly, sales multiple is pretty common in software, especially because most of the time they don't have any net income or anything like that for a long time, and then all of a sudden they'll just take off. They quite often will sell with sales multiples rather than like discounted cash flow models or anything like that, because quite often they don't have cash flow yet.
Okay.
So,
I think that would be. I mean, if I were selling it, I would obviously go high. Higher than 87.
yeah. If I was selling it, I would say, oh well, I want a 4 times multiple because we have a revolutionary business model, and I want it times our revenue run rate, not our trailing 12 months revenue. So I want it close to 200 million.
Yeah.
I think maybe closer to 2 at 35. So
Yeah. Which that's a crazy difference. 87 million and 200 million.
right.
So.
Yeah, in the thing I said I would sell it for somewhere between. I personally, if I was Gianforte, I would sell for 165 million. That's what I would want to try and get because they already invested 129 million. The investors did. So there's other people willing to buy it at that price, I think. And so for everyone to get a good return, I would say maybe about 165.
Yeah. So everybody gets their money back.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was.
Yeah.
That's what I'd say. Yeah, I'd be really happy to sell there.
Dude, it was crazy this week. Just kind of connecting this to like kind of real life. I sold my 4-wheeler this week, and I told the guy exactly how much money I was into it. And I was like, so literally, I'm not making any money off of it, because I was selling it what it was into it. because I had done some upgrades on it, and like it had a plow on it, and it was really nice. And so I told him, I was just like, dude, I'm into it this much money, and that's what I'm asking for it. So I'm not even, And he was just like, his total demeanor changed after that when I was like upfront with him, you know,
Yeah.
because it was a lot of money for a four wheeler, but I was like, I'm into it this much, so I'm not even making money off of you, which I paid that money a long time ago, like a few years ago. So like, yeah, I'm into it that much, but anyway, it just reminded me of last week, and then what you said here. It was like, I wonder if they gave explanation of why they wanted 165 million for it. You know, I bet people would be more open to pay that. Because when you said 165, I was like, whoa, that's a lot of money. But then if you say that you're paying people back, I'm into it this much, and so I'm really not trying to make that much money, which you are. But I don't know, just kind of,
Yeah.
just kind of made me think of that.
Yeah.
Okay, so was that number two also? Please provide a range of values rather than a single number. How do you come to this conclusion?
Yeah, I guess so. What range did you work up?
Well, I guess I was doing it. I guess I didn't really take into consideration the multiple, which I should have. But I'm so sick of case studies, and so I have a hard time like really devoting a lot of time to them. Which is bad because I don't know. But I was just reading, and I was like, oh, 50 million, like I don't know. I could go up a little bit from that. I mean, if they're doing 35 million a year, I was like, you've got to at least double that. So I was like, I don't know, maybe 70 million, 75 million. You know,
Yeah.
that's kind of what I thought. If Greg's
And
investors seek a 30 to 50% internal rate of return, what exit value do they expect? So let's see. So is this off of the 35 million?
I think it's what they're saying is from what they invested.
Which is the 120, right? 121.
So they invested 29 million. I don't know what percentage they got exactly. I can't remember it, like the exact number. But if you just use 129 um, uh, um, times 1.3, it's 167.7 million. If you do 1.5, you're 193 and a half.
And why did you do 129? Is that what they're in? I thought they were in 125.
Somewhere around that. I think it was 129 they had invested at. That was what the post money valuation was, I believe.
Oh, okay.
If I remember right, I think that's what it was.
Some cool kid the other week taught me about post money valuation.
That's good. Yeah, I think that's what it was. So, I mean, I don't know if this question's asking like yearly rate of return or if it's just total rate of return. Um, but if they just want 30% on their investment, then you're looking at 167 million for the whole business to sell. They would get their return back.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah, that'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah, 167 and 170, whatever. You get, yeah, 30%. Okay. Sorry, let me do this one more number. Yeah, 193. Yeah, so, I mean, they're looking. It's funny, just 30 to 50% is like $20 million.
Yeah,
Or $30 million almost.
yeah.
Crazy. I can't even fathom having that much money. I'd be happy with like I'd be happy with $1 million, but like lifetime goal, and I'd be happy with 10 million, man.
That's awesome.
Okay. Provide your analysis of each of the options Greg is considering. Based on your analysis, what should Greg do? Consider Greg's goals as well as the goals of everyone else who's involved in this venture. Okay, so for me, I chose, let me get to it real quick. So I said option 2B, to reject the acquisition offer and continue to grow organically.
Okay.
And the reason why I did that was because option 2A, the stock, this or the IPO, going public, it kind of seemed like there was a lot of risk to it, which he's tried to go public before, and I mean, look at the growth that he's had since then. So I mean, it's not like if he tries to go public, he fails, and he's lost all his time,
Right.
But so I mean, I guess that it's an okay option. It just didn't seem like the best option to me because it seemed like it was really there were a lot of what do I want to say, like I don't know, just a lot of things that had to happen for it to align, and it seemed like there was just too much.
Yeah.
I don't know. 2B seemed to me just like they are doing so good right now, and so if you sell, pretty much I mean, yeah, you get tons of money right now, but you're done. I mean, I kind of said in my case analysis, like, would he be satisfied if he just threw in the towel right now and got all his money, which maybe he would be, but I couldn't really tell from the case like if that's what he wanted. I know that he was like talking about. I mean, at the beginning, it was like he was with his daughter and he was just trying to focus on his daughter and his family, and so maybe that's something that his family wants is just something right now, to
Yeah.
and they could live off of that money for a long time, you know.
Oh yeah.
And so I mean, but then the other thing that I was thinking about too was like he's to me he's like a businessman, he's an entrepreneur, and it doesn't seem like he would be the kind of guy who would just throw in the towel and be like, I'm done. But at some point, all entrepreneurs kind of throw in the towel, They
Yeah.
they all sell their business or do something, But it just seemed to me like they're doing way good right now, and kind of why would you stop something that's doing so good right now? Ride it out for another 5 or 10 years, and see what you can see. But so that's why I didn't like option one, was because it just kind of seemed to me like they were just trying to buy him out and knock their company off the planet, because they were a threat to him. But he's obviously getting a lot of money because he's been doing something right.
Right.
So I thought that he should just stick with it and just ride it out for a few more years,
Cool.
So, what did you think?
I thought he should sell, quite honestly. For a couple reasons. Well, first, I'm with you on the IPO. I don't think the market is very good for him right now. It sounded like for that one company, who was that one company who's gone public?
Salesforce.
Salesforce. For that company, I mean, they've had a lot of good publicity. They've had a lot of good marketing. I think for them, probably right now is a decent time. For right now, no one knows who they are. So I don't think it's a good opportunity. Plus, the market is just not good for technology companies, especially technology companies people don't know. Just because the tech bubble and everything that just crashed. And I feel there's a lot of risk there as well. But selling the business, first, Greg would probably get around $100 million, which he retired off somewhere around 10 million. So he'd be able to definitely secure himself and his family. They'd be able to do whatever they want, whether it's start another one or retire for good. But They still want him to come work for the business so he can still reach his goal of getting 2,000 jobs in Bozeman. It didn't really say whether they had to move the company, but it didn't sound like they were going to have to. So he
Yeah.
could still reach that goal. He would basically take all the risk off the table for himself and the other investors, which I thought was awesome. And I thought I remember seeing there that they had a stock for stock deal. It was going to be a stock swap, basically. So if this other company is public, then they have liquidity, or they can take advantage of the growth by letting it sit in the stock market longer. So I was like, well, you could still get upside. You take all the risk off the table pretty much, and you can still work in the business. Like, I don't see a downside except maybe missing some upside potential. So that's what I thought.
I've been thinking about it as you've been talking. I'm like, okay, when you're reading this case, it seems like, yeah, he should like write it out, or see what happens, But who in their right mind would not sell a business after 6 years of being open for $100 million? I would take it in a second.
I mean, unless you're like, okay, I'm going to be the next $10 billion company, like, but I don't know if they will be. I don't see the market potential to be that huge.
Yeah. I mean, $100 million. That is so much money.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I would take it so fast. I'm just thinking too about my brother-in-law and like what he said, which he's in a different situation because, I mean, he bought this company for $1.5 million, and it's worth like 12 or 13 million dollars now.
Uh-huh.
That's over 2 or 3 years. And I was like, why didn't you sell it? And he was like, if that was over 3 years, imagine what I could do after 10 years,
Yeah.
So I just keep thinking about that in my head, like, okay, if in 6 years he can get an offer for $100 million, think about what he can do in 15 years. But I think that there's a point, like you say, that at some point, especially that market is gonna top off somewhere,
Yeah.
I think a good example is like Coke or McDonald's, like they. Sorry, I'm tired. I don't know if they've like what their sales have been off the top of my head, but I'm sure that they haven't been growing exponentially every single year. I think to some degree they've kind of found out how much money they're going to make in a year, and it's pretty similar every year. Because there's only so much money in a certain market. So, anyway,
Yeah.
it's interesting when I'm reading it by myself. I think one way, and then when we meet together, I think a complete different opposite way.
Yeah. I learned a bunch of new sides too.
Yeah.
I don't know. As I was writing my thing, I just kind of went with the position and I thought about it more. I was like, if you're doing a stock swap, if you make that company grow, making a bunch of upside too for yourself because you own some of that company still, You own some of the company basically by owning the owner.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's hard to say because they might miss out on some upside, but probably not a lot because they still own part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I guess that's really it. That's all we have to talk about.
Yeah.
Today. So that's nice that it was kind of short.
Yeah, I guess last thing, what do you think the venture capitalists are going to say? Do you think they'll be willing to sell?
Well, that's a good point too, because it was saying in the case that not everybody at the firm on the board agreed on how they should proceed.
Right.
Because he wasn't the only one who wanted to sell. Like there were a lot of people on the board who didn't want to sell.
Right.
Continue going, but nobody really had a clear vision of how they were going to grow, continue to grow. Which I don't think that should scare them away from not growing or from taking the money, you know, and saying, "Well, we don't know how to grow, so we're just going to take it." But I think that it sounds bad, but I think with a certain price tag, you can buy people's vote, you know. And I think that, I mean, he has the majority shares, so he doesn't need anybody else. He just makes the decision pretty much. But I think, I don't know, as far as the goals of everyone else who's involved in this venture, I think a couple $1 million would help them. I don't know. I mean, when it comes down to it, it's a job, you know, it's a career. And yeah, they want to like change the world, I guess, with their software, but you can't really complain about selling the business for $100 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, with $100 million, you can change the world in a lot faster ways than building a customer resource management system, you know?
But yeah, it's crazy to me that that company wanted to buy them out for that much money. But like I said, I mean, that's their world, you know? So
That's true.
Okay, well, anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. Zach is kind of interesting.
What's that?
Zach is kind of interesting.